Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about another superpower that I think is really interesting and gets my brain really going. That power is Cliché. It's held by a character also from the Villain Code series. Her name is Chloe and her power is basically known as Cliché. So remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's begin. So, Chloe is another character, as I said, in the Villains Code series, but she is not one of the villains. She's just a regular character that ends up getting powers because of one of these events called confluences. So the power that she gets has to do with old sayings. So the name that she ends up going by is Cliché. So the way her power works is if she says an old saying with intent and has a visual way of thinking of how it works, then it'll happen exactly like that. For example, one of the ones that she uses in the book that I think is really awesome, and Drew Hayes, the writer, managed to pull this scene off like immediately after I thought about it. Like it was like within the same second. It was so awesome. They needed to go somewhere, and I was thinking about the phrase like you can get there in a hop, skip, and a jump, and that was what they thought about. So they used the idea of getting home in a hop, skip, and a jump to allow them to basically figure out a way to teleport. So if they do a hop and a skip, based on what constitutes a hop and a skip in Chloe's eyes, though. So based on that, she can teleport. So it's really easy and straightforward. So I like that power a lot because it's so insanely versatile and it's so weird and unique, and you have to come up with all different kinds of ways to use it. So I was thinking about some other ways it could be used, like in battle. If she was to use it for, actually in the most recent book, in Bones of the Past, again, Drew like put into print what was one of the ideas that I was thinking about. So one of the phrases that she discovers that she can use is anything you can do, I can do better. So if she basically is in battle, she can copy anybody's power and then be more powerful. But that power we find has a limitation because her body, when she got her powers, wasn't changed to allow for like different amounts of power. She can only do so much right now. It's suggested that she can train to do more. But there's like another character in the story who can turn into dragons, and she tries to use that same phrase on her, but because that's such a huge amount of power that her body's not conditioned for, she can't say it without passing out. She can barely get through the phrase at all, so it's really interesting. Since she's not a villain or a hero in the story, Drew doesn't really showcase her powers that much, only in sporadic little moments and things. So I was thinking about different phrases that could be used, like in a situation if I had that ability. We also later find out that her power, at least in another universe, is the same kind of power, but it comes from a different kind of thing. She goes by the name Edict, and based on that name, I take it as her power is based in like authority, command, in that world at least. So the concept of being able to use these phrases that are basically built up in culture and like they're just understood kind of things. So like based on that idea, I was thinking about some other phrases that could be, really useful if you had this ability. So I was thinking of, this might even be a hack within the rules of this power itself, but I was thinking about like cleanliness is next to godliness. So if you personify that in your head, at least as you think about it, like if you clean this stuff up, then you're as good as a god. So like I would think about it like, if I clean up my apartment before I go out to do superhero stuff, I'll be as good as a god and like gain all these other powers. That might be a little hacky, like to get so specific in the way I want it to manifest, but as far as I've seen, it kind of works in that way. So another good one would be the proof is in the pudding. So think about a situation, say Chloe is working with somebody that's like Batman or something, some multiversal version of Batman, or just any investigator character. She can say that phrase, get pudding. It can be hilarious as hell. Like get pudding and get the proof and like pretty much solve any kind of case like immediately, depending on how you think of it. Or like maybe even pudding can be like metaphorical for, because the way it is actually in the phrase. Like pudding could be metaphorical for just this mess of information or something. And it could just be like a shortcut to solving mysteries and crimes and things like that. I think that would be really cool and unique. So, and for the last one that I want to talk about here, I think this is a really cool one. So this last one I've been thinking about might also be a little hacky. So I think it's still it might be within the rules, because if she can go from just old sayings and stuff to like commands and stuff as edict, then I think there's probably a lot of gray room within the way that this power works. And she doesn't understand it that much. So I really think this works. So the very simple phrase that 2 is company, but 3 is a crowd. So in my head, like, imagine the idea of if you say that and then you already have someone near you. So obviously it brings up cause to say it. So like, say you and another hero or something are like looking down, the city's getting destroyed or whatever, and it's just you two. And you're like, well, 2 is company, but 3 is a crowd. And you call in somebody else and that one person comes, but it has like a multiplying effect. So like, I guess it could either work in a way that backup brings, insane backup and it creates like a crowd. But I was initially thinking of it as like the third person gets copied and it becomes like a crowd and it becomes like a copy kind of thing. Like something like that. Or even the phrase, birds of a feather flock together. So like if you say something like that, maybe if you imagine it like that. But part of me thinks if I was to say that, then other people with that similar ability would probably be drawn to my location or something. So I kind of like the other one better because the crowd kind of allows you to hack it and just do multiples. So I kind of like that idea a lot. So those were a few quick little phrases that I would use if I had the ability to make cliche phrases literal. Let me know what phrases you would use in the comments down below. I'm really interested to see what your guys' thoughts are. So remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I will talk to you all next time. Peace.